Hi guys, this is Dr. Sadashivam once again with you. And today we are going to talk about India's foreign exchange reserves. India has approximately $640 billion. This is a December figure. Now we need to see if the same situation will extend for a little more time. Probably that is because of 2 years of accommodative policy in the United States and everywhere in the world. In fact, the Indian economy is also adopting an accommodative policy in the last 2 or 3 MPC meetings. MPC is Marginal Monetary Policy Committee. Now, of late, US has been hinting at doubling their balance sheet tapering, and over a period of time, they have announced that they may end their net purchases by March 2022. And obviously that is 3 months prior to their announced schedule. And not just that, there may be certain front-loaded interest rates. Typically, we are talking about interest rate hikes, which is 3 interest rate hikes in 2022, and probably people are also talking about 8 interest rate hikes by the end of 2024. For those of you who don't understand traditional economics, let me explain to you that whenever the countries increase their interest rates, what happens? The money will start flowing from the equity markets to the bond markets. If you look at that yield curve, because that plays a very, very important role in the functioning of your stock markets or various asset classes. Whenever there is too much of liquidity in the system, we are not talking about US alone, we are talking about India also. I have put up a separate video on the accommodative stance of the Indian government. We have a monetary policy committee which meets once in 3 months, headed by the Reserve Bank of India, and we've already put up some videos in terms of what kinds of decisions are taken, in terms of whether they will increase rates or decrease rates. They're all called as hawkish, dovish, accommodative, etc., etc. I've put up a lot of videos on the subject, and I request you to watch. So in this, I would restrict myself to saying that as on date, government is adopting this accommodative stance, which means interests are not very high or not very low. Let me explain to you how interest rates play a very important role in this economy, because the Reserve Bank of India uses these interest rates as one of the levers to control inflation, manage inflation. If you look back during the last year, because of COVID, there has been too much liquidity into the system. Initially, we talked about liquidity in the US. It's not just US, even in India, the liquidity is very high. How? Because the government has pumped in so much amount of money into the system for various welfare measures, your subsidies, your free food grains, and host of other things that the government has given for people living below the poverty line. So all that money, liquidity that has come into the economy, it is floating around. Traditional economics, as well as a matter of common sense, whenever there is too much of money into the system, it leads to inflation. So sometimes what the governments do to control the inflation, they suck out that liquidity from the market. So once the money is sucked away from the market, then you will be able to control inflation in a sizable manner. And that's what US currently is doing, because US inflation rates are very high. Because all this while they have been following this accommodative policy by keeping the interest rates low, and now they are talking about rise in interest rates. Something of that sort happened in 2013, which is called as taper tantrum, right? It affected all the emerging economies, there was a lot of negative impact in all the emerging economies, and I'm putting up a separate video on that. Anybody interested in what is taper tantrum, you can subscribe to this channel and watch what is taper tantrum. So whenever US eases means cutting the interest rates and expanding the balance sheet. When that happens, it triggers a global economic cycle in the emerging markets. Because once it does, what happens? It results in local currency appreciations, it increase in asset prices, increase in real estate prices, something which is happening today, right? But this time, the interest rates in US is different from what happened during 2013, which affected all the economies. There are certain key things that we need to keep in mind. There are differences because that time when the taper tantrum happened, all the markets throughout the world, that time, the situation was different from what is happening now. Especially as far as India is concerned, the external vulnerability is very, very less because rupee is not overvalued now as it was during that time. Current account surplus, if you talk about both this year and the last year, it's very, very favorable. Because as I am speaking to you, we have 12 months of imports compared to just 6 months of imports in 2013. If you remember, 1991, it was just 3 days of imports, right? Some of those problems remain. We can be very happy, but there are certain problems. We'll discuss those problems also. Currently, as we are speaking now, it is not very favorable. May have been favorable till now, but coming days are going to be little difficult. For example, if you look at the merchandise deficit, the latest report says that there is a deficit of approximately $22 billion. The second factor is gold imports, because gold imports have surged approximately $55 billion last year, guys. India is one of the major consumers of gold in the world. We are all aware of it. So all these are expected to widen the current account deficits. In fact, some experts are saying, in fact, article by Sonal Verma, who is a top honcho in Nomura, this is her view also. She was hinting that the current account deficit might widen to 2% of the GDP in the coming months. May not be much, 2% is not much, but it will reverse much of the gains that we have gained during this year and the last year. So inflation is another issue. As we are contending with that issue, inflation of 5.5% in India is not much. Maybe it is low compared to United States of America, but as far as Asia is concerned, where the inflation is still under control in most of the emerging countries like Thailand, Vietnam and other countries, but it might make us lose our export competitiveness. So we need to keep our watchful eyes, and RBI of course doing a lot of things, but we cannot afford to be complacent, right? Because any levers that the Reserve Bank of India uses to control inflation is a double-edged sword. Because once you control inflation, then growth gets affected. If you induce growth, then inflation is an outcome of that. So it's a double-edged sword. It's an acrobatic walk. I'm sure that the government is doing its best in terms of managing this. This is a trade-off always. The trade-off between growth and inflation has always been a trade-off, and many economists have their own ways and means of doing so. So I think at the moment we need to leave certain things to the wisdom of the Reserve Bank of India, and the Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikanta Das is doing a great job. He has managed, including the RBI Governor and the Finance Minister, they have managed the whole post-corona period in a very, very efficient manner, and we only hope that the same performance will continue in the days and years to come. Okay guys, this is Dr. Sadashiv. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and this is Dr. Sadashiv signing off till we meet again. Jai Hind.